Hello everybody, here we are today talking about Connor Bedard in this video in his sophomore season, seeing if he's better or worse. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. Being said, let's get on into it. So last year, Connor Bedard entered the season with the most hype we'd seen for a rookie in a while, and I think in a lot of ways he was able to deliver on that hype. He led his team in goals and points, while also nearly averaging a point per game. And on top of that, too, was able to claim the Calder Trophy despite him missing 14 games with an injury, which kind of set the stage for this year. People really getting hyped for him and seeing what he could do in that second year if he could take that next step. And looking at his first 17 games, I think some people are a little bit worried, mainly because in that time he has 13 points and only has 3 goals, and that is where you see a guy that is going and having his point per game average drop while also seeing probably a quieter year on the goal front. He's not even top 5 for his team in goals at the moment, sparking this talk about whether or not we should be worried about Connor Bedard and his development. And I think in a lot of ways we could say we don't really have to be worried because some numbers just look better for him. His shots per 60 have gone up this year, and he is missing the net less often than what we saw last year. So more shots and more accurate are all two good things that you can combine there. And then you see his 5-on-5 play. Things have gotten much better there too in terms of the goals for percentage. They're actually breaking even right now as they have scored 9 goals compared to 9 allowed in that span. Compared to last year when Bedard was out there, they outscored 67-37 in that time. That was a huge issue not only for him but the team in general. And then you see the power play. And while yes, he is goalless in this time, his points per 60 are higher, and he is allowing a lot less goals when he's out there on the power play. Kind of a weird thing to talk about there, but it was not uncommon for teams to go out there and score when Chicago was on the power play. This season, things are looking good. And I know, again, we can kind of circle back to the goals. 3 over the course of nearly 20 games isn't great, but he is a player that likes to take a lot of what the NHL would deem mid-range shots. And this is where you see him not really being a strong net front presence guy or anything like that. He's a guy that will like to take a lot of shots out on the circle. He's a guy that likes to use that great shot that he has to try to score. And at the end of this, I think that we will see maybe a period where he gets a little bit more hot and able to find the back of the net a little bit more often. That would be great. Now, as for some things to maybe stress a little bit in terms of getting better, maybe on the power play, he could be a little bit more aggressive as his shots have gone down, as well as his individual high danger chances. This is a guy you would really like to see be aggressive because he drew penalties last season too, and seems to be like he'll probably have less this year in terms of drawing penalties. So trying to be more aggressive, especially on the man advantage, would be nice, while also not being a guy that is a defensive liability. Because while you want to see your younger players go out there and be aggressive, especially when the team develops and has higher aspirations, you don't want to see a guy that's a liability when your team is in the Western Conference Final and can't catch a break there. And it is pretty obvious right now too that this is something you could work on, as well as still at 5-on-5 play. He's not a positive for the Hawks. He might be a good player offensively for them, but at full strength, he is a net negative for them. So looking at all this right now, I don't really think that it is time to panic when you're watching Connor Bedard. He is playing on a better team right now. He is playing with better line mates. Teuvo Teravainen and him have been pretty good at 5-on-5, or at least it's been good for Bedard. And the team is set to improve too by 11 points, which wouldn't seem like a whole lot, but that would be their best season in like 3 years. This is a situation where Rome isn't built in a day, but you also can't overreact to things like goal totals and point totals. We are seeing him probably going to go out there and maybe drop in goals, which would be kind of disappointing, but at the same time too, I don't think that Bedard is suddenly going to be this bust or anything like that, and we are seeing some of those improvements in terms of making more shots or just converting more chances on net, which are a good thing, and not being a side that is just terrible at 5-on-5 play, which is absolutely huge. It's something where I would like to see him score more goals. I would like to see him crack, 30 goals. So if he ended up scoring less than 20, it would be a letdown. But it's not a huge issue for me. So Connor Bedard, a guy that certainly has been talked about a lot in the past few weeks, especially with his goal tally and the points reduction. But again, don't panic. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Connor Bedard this year? Do you feel like he's a better or worse player in his sophomore season? Or do you feel like he's going to be A-okay playing on a better team that's looking to be more competitive in the coming years? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe, have a great night, and you go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.